Hello everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope we're doing well, and today we'll be doing a box office update for this weekend, as it looks like the experts, or so-called experts, have once again missed the mark. And here's the thing, I don't really know exactly where this film is going to land, because when we see these experts beginning to adjust their numbers in such a drastic way, we start to recognize that they don't even really know exactly how well or not well this film specifically in question, No Time to Die, is actually going to do. So let's go ahead and dive into the numbers that they are now saying the film is projected to make domestically and what they were saying before the weekend. Before going any further, please make sure you smash that like button, light up that fire button if you're watching on Odyssey. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel with that bell notification turned on. That way you know every time a new video or live stream goes live on the channel. So, as you can see from Deadline, No Time to Die, Daniel Craig's final Bond, targeting a $60 million domestic opening. Oh man, that seems like it's a pretty good opening. Oh, wait a minute. This film was last projected to be making $84 million. Yes, you heard me correctly, $84 million. I talked about this on the box office preview, but even the folks over at Box Office Pro are looking at this as well, saying that right now they are projecting it to make between 55 and 60 million, with some possible upside to go slightly north of that latter figure. It's a range that noticeably falls short of our final weekend forecast, but also within the boundaries of what was once the expected range just a few weeks back. So, isn't it amazing that they said, well, we were right 3 weeks ago, but our final update, which is arguably going to be the most accurate of the updates, is actually off by a good $20 million. That's not really a very small discrepancy there. And I do like how they try and kind of go back a little bit to say, hey, we had it right 3 weeks ago when we did not expect the film to do as well. And so, therefore, we are just going to go ahead and just go and remind everybody that we had it right if the film falls into this range. But if for any reason the film does get anywhere north of 60 million, well, then our updated numbers will have reflected that, because it will have been within the range that we said that it would. It's just interesting to always hear the doublespeak happening from the so-called box office experts. To date, this film has made $144.5 million worldwide. This film, in order to be successful, has to make at least $750 million, and not doing as well domestically is going to be a huge hurt for the movie, especially since this film is coming in behind Spectre. So in the last few Bond films to come out, you have Skyfall, Spectre, and then No Time to Die, if this number holds. And this is one of the things that this points out. Again, it's expected to make around $60 million on the weekend, having made $6.3 million in Thursday previews, with a $23.3 million opening day. And when you compare this to other films, as it says, No Time to Die's opening, even though it's the third best, currently behind Skyfall's 88.3 and Spectre's 70.4, in fact, they are thrilled. So they're happy. They're excited that the film is doing it. It says, in an October where Venom 2 can open at 90 million, and Bond to 60, Halloween 2 to 40, and Dune to 30 plus, that's fantastic, said one non-MGM suit to me yesterday. Of course, they're gonna have to try and spin the numbers as best they can, always trying to keep you in the dark about just how much money these films actually need to make at the box office in order to make their money back, with the one exception being Halloween Kills, which did not have, at least last time we saw, and at least in the first Halloween film that they made a couple years ago, it didn't have a very large budget. We can assume that this film also doesn't have a very large budget. We can't say the same thing for No Time to Die, which has a massive $300+ million budget, and as I said, needs to make $750 million plus to make its money back. Dune doesn't have to make nearly as much, because it actually cost a lot less than I think some people were expecting. Around $165 million is the actual cost for that specific film. Needs to make a little over $240 million or so in order for that film, Dune, to break even. So I can see why they might be a little more optimistic, especially since there are some strong indications, at least in the foreign markets, of the films doing better than what they expected. But I don't think that this is something that you are going to be saying, oh yeah, you know what, I'm so happy, I'm so excited to see that this is going on right now. And let's go ahead and go back and see if we can actually find the numbers that they had originally posted for this week. And again, as you saw in that most recent article, they said $55 to $60 million is their new projections based on the Friday numbers. Now you can see that their opening weekend, again, this was their final update to their opening weekend, was 70 to 105 million. So this falls well out of the range that they themselves had put out there. And also very much is very consistent, as they pointed out, with what they had three weeks ago. But it's not a good sign when your number from 3 weeks ago is accurate, but your current number is not. And obviously, this is them thinking, oh, the box office is back because Venom overperformed. And so you can see a lot of the experts are trying to kind of make up for that, saying, okay, we're going to have higher expectations this weekend because we assume that every film is just going to be able to overperform now. And obviously, that is just not the case. There's multiple different factors that one could look to for why any film is successful or not successful. And obviously the thing that they're going to be pointing out for this film is that, well, James Bond really goes towards an older demographic, and a lot of them are still terrified to go to the movie theater. And even if there is some truth to that, doesn't change the fact that their numbers are going to be off by a lot if these numbers hold. As I said, for all we know, this film could pull a Venom and just, blow it out of the water for today's totals and tomorrow's totals. It's not likely, but it is still theoretically possible. But 70 to 105 million, that was the final forecast they had, with the average being 84 million. And now they're saying 55 to 60 million dollars. You look to that, and then you also look to what they've been saying for films like Venom 2's numbers, and this actually seems to be holding out, at least based on what we are seeing so far this weekend. So it's interesting that they can get some things right and then other things not so right, but not a very good sign, early sign for No Time to Die in the domestic box office. As I said, it is expected to do well in the foreign marketplace and could potentially make some money back there, but not having a lot of money domestically, where studios get a bigger cut of the box office than in the foreign markets, is definitely not a good look, especially since this is a film that's now tracking behind films like Spectre. And the excuse of, well, we're in pandemic times, really can't hold up much water these days, especially when films like Venom 2 is able to outperform the original film, even when you adjust for inflation. How is it that Venom 2 makes $10 million more than the original film, and then you have No Time to Die, which is the last of the James Bond films, which is supposed to be the pinnacle, the peak of it, somehow, at least the last of the Daniel Craig James Bond films, is not showing similar versatility? Could be something to do with the pandemic and older people not coming out to the box office. Could also do with the fact that the ending has been leaked and has been talked about a lot already, and it's not a very good one and causes a lot of questions and causes for concern. But anyway, what are your thoughts? Do you think No Time to Die is going to be able to pull it off, that during the box office breakdown tomorrow, it's going to be, oh man, you know what, we actually were right. Instead of going back 3 weeks ago, we're going to go back to a couple days ago, and we're going to find some in between. Who knows what they're going to try and use, and obviously the excuses will be abounding. And you all know, I wait for actual numbers to come in, because that is something that I can actually do something with. I can look at historical standards, I can look and see what indeed has been the projected numbers, and again, I can do something when numbers are actually there. That's why I'm not in the game that these experts, so-called experts, are in, when they're making projections and predictions weeks in advance, and then when they're actually making their more official ones closer to the release date, they end up falling flat on their face 2 weeks in a row now. Again, they were very much undercutting Venom, having it making around $60 million last weekend, made 90, and then for this one, it's going to make 70 to 100, and it's going to make 55 to 60. According to these new numbers. So we'll have to wait and see what the actual numbers are tomorrow. What are your thoughts, though? Do you think No Time to Die is going to be able to pull it off? Have you seen it? Is it worth seeing? Do you have a lot of fun with it? Are you a James Bond fan in general? I might try and go see it this coming week because I'm off for fall break, which is going to be very nice. I'm actually going to be able to see films again. But 2 hours and 43 minutes, I don't know how to really feel about it. I've heard a lot of mixed things, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, light up that fire button. It really does mean a lot. Also, a shout out to Kara Tharp, who is a supporter over on locals.com. Again, thank you very much for being a supporter. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my Patreon, Subscribe Star, and Locals members. Andrew Hoyle, Animation Commentator. Brandon, Brian P., Christopher Bowman, Don Bruno de la Mancha, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Harold Francis, Inflamed Wood, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toone, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Gomer Kyle, 79, Laura, the Modern Major General's Story, Mike Jackson, Dion, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mondo Spieler, Mr. Peabody, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Priscilla Hall, Rosetta Allen, Stan Andrian, Teresa Martin, Theodore Benden, Tina Bojan, and Tina B, the Empress of the Universe. Thank you for being my Patreon members, and a huge shout out to my Subscribe Star members, The R, Fast Reaction, Nosferatu Gatsu, John B, Perpetual Punster, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., Dean Heist / the new number 2, J-Rod the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Subscribestar. And to my one Locals member, Robert Barnes, thank you for supporting me over on Locals. And if you want a name shouted out, or your name rather, shouted out at the end of every single live stream and video, please consider joining on one of those platforms, either Patreon, Subscribestar, or Locals. Links to that can be found in the description. Look at that top link especially. It's called the Willow link there. It'll give you links to all the social media platforms and also ways to support the channel. If you want to be an Army of Asgard level or above member, you can get access to giveaways that I do every single month. I give away 4Ks, Blu-rays, all kinds of stuff. It is a lot of fun. Also, if you join at the Keeper of the Bifrost level, you get access to all of that. Plus, you get access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger. We have a lot of fun. We do that once or twice a month. And if you join at the Chosen of Valhalla level, you get all of that. Plus, in your first month, you get a t-shirt of your choice and send anywhere in the world. And also, you get to be featured on the channel once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where we get to hang out and have a good time. So anyway, if any of that sounds good, check out that link in the top of the video as I mentioned. You guys are amazing and beautiful people. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.